And it is good evening and happy croissant day here at TrackStars Racing Series, where we are bringing you all of the live action for the TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars Grand Finale for round 13 here at the beautiful, spectacular St. Croix Layout C. It is just going to be myself in the commentary box tonight. Unfortunately, we don't have our usual suspect in Ryan Palmer or Chris Lashbrook joining us here tonight. So I'll be the sole commentator here in the TrackStars Racing Series Discord and joining you guys on stream. And hopefully we'll be able to get you guys more involved and get you guys into the comment section so you guys can give me some company while we go to races here for 5 laps. We have a championship decider here. It's going to be between car 18 in the hands of Jeff Brun for the Steel City Mash Buds Racing Lexus SC430 versus Tony Griffin in the WTC Lexus SC430. So 2 contenders, theoretically, can take out this championship. While we have some other contenders, because it is a 2-race event, all they need to do is pray for both Jeff Brun and Tony Griffin to not make any race at all. But in theory, that's going to be a little bit impossible for them because they are both on track and they are both raring to go to take this title fight right down to the wire here at TrackStars Racing Series. So thank you again for joining us here on this beautiful evening here in Australia, or as we have with our fellow streamer. He was broadcasting all the way from New Zealand. I might bring him in just to say a few words. It's a fellow commentator in, if you've noticed, if you guys have been watching the Motormotion E-Series YouTube channels, and because we have some great partnerships with them, it is the awesome and legendary George Cook. So George Cook, welcome to the TrackStars Racing Series scenery. Familiar track we've been here before, and why don't you come and say hello and join us for what is going to be an awesome finale at TrackStars.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Nick. Appreciate it, and lovely to be back in the TrackStars ecosystem. Lots of great stuff happening here, and of course the big sister, the older brother, so to speak, of Motormotion. I've been involved in for quite a while, but yeah, St. Croix, it's the familiar croissant once again, mate. We're back here again with slightly faster cars this time, which is going to be a lot of fun. But no, my pleasure to be back in the TrackStars ecosystem and broadcasting tonight's events.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we are part of the Motormotion E-Series commentary team, we would like to give a little special mention to our partners at Motormotion E-Series, where whilst we are broadcasting and once we have concluded the TrackStars Racing Series grand finale, we will be able to give you guys all some more racing action. So if you're looking to keep your live streaming and live comments and fuel injected racing minds on your TV screens, head over to our sister brand at Motormotion E-Series, where you'll be joining myself and George Cook for what is round 6 of the Track Racer TCR Cup at the legendary Mount Panorama. Actually, one of our normal commentators, Ryan Palmer, is actually there at the moment. So big shout out to Ryan Palmer for doing his duties at Mount Panorama. But yes, join us along as we commentate what is the second last round of the Track Racer TCR Cup. Who will take the victory in Lobby 1? And joining us as our special guest pit lane reporter is Andrew Scott, also known as Ando787. So join us once the TrackStars Racing Series racing has concluded. So as we get over to the live action now, we have 8 wonderful drivers here tonight, the key contenders in this championship. First man to lead the way onto the pit straight is the man himself, the championship leader in car 18, Jeff Brun for Steel City Mash Buds Racing in the Lexus SC430. These cars flying down onto the pit straight, going into turn 1, which is not really considered a corner because it's very flat in these cars. It's full throttled and hard braking to get the car turned in nicely at turn 2. And then again, it's also led by another little back straight here at the exit of turn 2 going into turn 3. Very tricky here because what we're seeing on the graphic on the top right is actually there's going to be a bit of a tailwind going into this corner right here. So you're going to have to pull it up just a little bit earlier. Probably just pluck it down all the way down to first gear, then short shift up to second, and then really just trying to really maximize the run through this intersection where both the Nissan and the Lexus have been very strong in the practice sessions. but it's all about hooking it up over these next 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, in theory, you're probably going to get only 2 flying laps here, and it's all about those drivers that can capitalize it. So Jeff Brun is the lead driver. Then we have right behind, who is actually right in fourth place in the championship, is Adam Walker, car 17 for Black Rose Racing. So brand new name here at TrackStars Racing Series in the TS3 Touring Cars Championship, and he's been doing such an amazing job through being very consistent throughout all of his racing and keeping up, finishing or staying in P4 in the championship. But the interesting thing here is, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not part of the TrackStars Racing Series Discord, between Adam Walker and Ryan Carter, who's right behind him on track in third place, is only 1 point separating them. So both drivers are on. We have Ryan Carter, who we have on screen right now, 2,426 points versus Adam Walker's 2,425 points. So a big 2 races for both drivers in this championship for the battle for third place and line honours. Can Black Rose Racing get the advantage over WTC and spoil the parties on the podium? We'll see at the end of the race for both nights. Then we have Brad James in fourth place, running along just right behind his teammate, getting a good slipstream down this back straight. So headwind going into this corner here can really maximise the car's braking abilities and go very, very late on the brakes. But with this toe that James has got, is going to be really helping him get that little bit of extra speed compared to his teammate ahead of him. Brakes it hard down to second gear, turns it in very nicely there, running the car as wide as you can to maximise the straight line exit that you can get. And then this inner field through the last section of the track. Very tricky to get right in these cars. They do have a little bit of natural understeer thanks to the less downforce that they have on these cars. A little bit more draggy, so the drivers do have to pull back a little bit on the braking side of things and on the speed side of things, so they have to compromise their entry and exits through the last section. But coming up onto the start-finish straight is the man in first place, Jeff Brun. What has he set for as the benchmark time? It's going to be, it looks like it's going to be a very strong lap here for Jeff Brun in car 18. It's going to be the first man into the 3-minute 12.6. That's a great benchmark there. Adam Walker right behind a 3-minute 13.3, eclipsed just by Ryan Carter in second place, only by 1/100th of a second there between Ryan Carter and Adam Walker in third place. Then Tony Griffin, the man currently sitting in fourth place at the moment, another contender. Well, the driver in position 2 in this championship, the only man theoretically that can take this title fight down to the wire if he gets the points over Jeff Brun tonight. And as the drivers start filing in through the grid, we have our top 5 with the man in the championship leader leading the way by a healthy second over his championship competitor. So then we have drivers down in 6th place. Richard Robertson in 6th place for RoboSport Racing. The final legacy of RoboSport Racing. This will only not be the first time that we'll see a RoboSport racing car here at St. Croix as we go 2 weeks time for the St. Croix 1500, where we'll be bidding adieu farewell for an au revoir to RoboSport Racing, a legacy that has proved very strong and has built up some great drivers, great talent has come through the RoboSport Racing camp over its last 3 years at TrackStars Racing. And it's good to see Robbo, the lead man himself, enjoying himself in the TS3 Touring Cars field. He'll be representing RoboSport Racing, but under his own branding. So he won't have any teammates, won't have any companions to join him as he's going solo for the foreseeable future, which will then, from 2024, will be replaced, or will be replacing them, will be RN Racing, which will be very exciting in the hands of Craig Harcourt. Taking over in 2024, taking ownership in 2024. Right behind there, Bendit from our Flying Dutchman in TS3 Touring Cars rounds up in 7th place. Obviously, really hasn't set himself a very good lap at the moment there. He's going to probably have one more, or this could potentially be his final lap, as he's quite far back amongst the rest of the competitors as they are all coming onto the long neck straight. And then we have Wade Barrington down in 8th and last place as we bid also another au revoir to one of the drivers and one of the teams in M&R Motorsport Network Racing, doing their are pretty much racing their last race here at TrackStars Racing Series. So it's a bit of a sad moment here because these guys were part of the foundations of TrackStars TS3 touring cars. They were one of the first teams that entered the category when it made its debut in 2021. And it was absolutely incredible to see these guys bring out a really strong field of drivers and a big list of drivers that came in for the initial season in 2021, which was taken out by Warpath 360, also known as David Williams in the WRT Motorsport team. So it'll be great. It'll be a bit sad moment there. A couple of farewells here for the last time in TS3 touring cars, but we're excited to see what is going to be happening in this grand finale as we're about to click over 10 minutes there. So there's only theoretically 4 more drivers that can go for 1 more lap here, and it's very close quarters there. Griffo hasn't actually improved his time, so that's his session done. But so far, what I'm seeing here at the top of the timing sheets, Ryan Carter has now got provisional pole position over Jeff Brun, but only over a tenth of a second. So very strong pace here for Ryan Carter. And he's, like I said, he's got his competitor ahead of him in Adam Walker in 4th place. And both drivers are able to set 1 more flying lap here. So it's going to be the battle between those 2 drivers, and James as well, ahead of Robinson, who are both neck and neck on points. 330 points between him and Robbo versus Jeff Brun in the championship lead, as we see Adam Walker actually pulling over the side there. So he's actually done. So he can't improve his lap time. So that's him done for the session. But we have to keep an eye on our man in car 18, Jeff Brun, in the MSR Lexus. Let's see what he gets through this sector here. The next timing split will be across the bridge. Hopefully these drivers will be able to maybe try and set themselves 1 more lap. Oh, sorry, they'll be able to get this final lap here before the timer runs out. So as we go onto the bridge for the final time, let's see what his sector time is as Jeff Brun plucking through the gears up into 5th gear onto the bridge. Only a tenth down on the fastest lap time, so he just needs to find a little bit more time through this section, in the final section of the St. Croix layout. So we see here in the engines wall runs a little bit wide there. The understeer is kind of kicking a little bit on that Lexus, but still holds on very nicely. Let's see how much closer he can get there. He's only lost a few. He's gained a few hundredths there from his previous sector. So this could potentially be a strong lap here for Jeff Brun to try and see if he can actually get that critical position that he wants, P1, at the end of this qualifying. So we'll wait and see what the timer does, because I'm not too sure what happens here, because I think from memory from the old Gran Turismo Sport, all drivers could finish their lap times even if it was well past the time limit. I think you had about 4 or 5 minutes depending on the track layout. He's actually lost time in that last sector, so this is the sector that he needs to gain all of it back. Throw the cars in left, right, and try and get yourself up a nice exit onto the final corner here. Runs it wide, but cuts back in to straighten up the exit. Needs to brake just a bit early there and just plant the foot on the throttle there as he comes up towards the timing sector. What will this do for Jeff Brun? Will he keep P2 or will he start pole position for the finale in TrackStars TS3? Stays P2, does Jeff Brun. So he was actually the only driver that crossed the line there to get the lap time. The other drivers behind couldn't even set a lap time, but my goodness, what a close qualifying that is, George. And that's something that we don't really see in this 10.8 kilometer track layout, is a close qualifying amongst the top 5.
Oh, exactly right. I mean, there's absolutely nothing in it, and really impressive there from Ryoff to be up there on pole. Only 0.15 of a second, around a 3-minute and 12-second lap. I mean, it doesn't get much closer than that, and there was some really nice lines being taken there, obviously, by him. He got himself all figured out. Jeff just, he missed out ever so slightly. A couple of corners, if he had hit the apex maybe a little bit better, that might have been pole position. But the start line here is, and the entry into turn 1 certainly leaves it all open, even if you're on P2 on the grid. But yeah, impressive driving from all those on the grid today.
Yeah, absolutely right. And there are some key, and obviously we do have to keep an eye on the contenders. Ryan Carter and Adam Walker starting ahead, 3 positions ahead of Adam Walker for this first race, and Jeff Brun in second at 3 positions ahead of Tony Griffin down in 5th place. So it is a rolling start here at TrackStars TS3 touring cars as per the last round for the Honshu Sprint at Suzuka Circuit. So these guys will be starting single file when the race commences in a minute's time. So we're very excited to see how they execute turn 1s, turns 2. But it's going to be an exciting race here, George, and not a bad way to introduce yourself to the grand finale of TrackStars touring cars for the TS3 championship decider between Jeff Brun and Tony Griffin. Whilst there are other contenders as well in this championship, there are going to be some more close battles we have to keep an eye on, as we spoke of Ryan Carter and Adam Walker for WTC and Black Rose Racing. Also going to look out for Brad James and Richard Robinson for WTC and Robbo Sport Racing. So very close fights for this last round here.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is a great combination. Some people don't like St. Croix C too much, but I think in these touring cars that we've got here, they're very quick. They're very downforce dependent, and I think that's going to create some good racing. You can account for small mistakes in and out of the corners, as we did see Jeff do that on his qualifying lap when we were on board. So you can adjust for mistakes. You can go for dives, go for sends. They're great on the brakes, and obviously they've got a lot of power as well. And around a lovely flowing circuit like this, that's certainly going to create some good racing. So yeah, I mean, in a way, I'm a little bit gutted to only be here for the finale, but maybe next time we'll be able to tune in a little bit more often or such like that. But really looking forward to this.
Absolutely, as we get ourselves ready, as Robbo is just doing the final checks, and the track marshals are cleaning up all the excess tarmac and the excess rubber build from these tires. We'll be getting ourselves ready for the finale, and here we are. It is going to be race 1 for the TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars Championship. The decider, ladies and gentlemen. We are so excited to get ourselves underway as we're about to get onto the grid for what is going to be race 1 here at TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, a rolling start here with Ryan Carter leading the championship lead and Jeff Brun, James right behind in 3rd, Adam Walker 4th, and we are green flag racing as the guys start going single file into turn 1, turn 2. Who's going to get the upper hand amongst Ryan Carter and Jeff Brun in the opening lap? We'll see very shortly as the drivers are starting to file through into turn 2. They go for the first time for the first 5 laps here. Very cleanly amongst all competitors there, so we thank our drivers for putting on a great performance, a clean turn 1. But Jeff Brun is right behind Ryan Carter there. Ryan goes defensive on the inside. What does Jeff do? Does he go defense? Does he go hard into turn 3, or does he stick back? He's going to stick back and wait for his opportune moment. Tony Griffin has come through all the way from 5th to 3rd in one corner, and a couple of corners there. A solid move there by Tony Griffin. And that is a good championship authority move there for Tony Griffin. Now right behind his fellow championship leader in Jeff Brun in 2nd place. And he actually hasn't made any moves on Ryan Carter as of yet. Adam Walker holds on to 4th, James in 5th, and Robinson right behind them. So those two are equal on points. As we see a bit of contact there between Adam Walker and James from WTC Racing. Adam's going to go around the outside. He's going to have to concede that position to WTC's James. He does, but he's going to look to throw the car back onto the inside as they go through the S's. He doesn't do any opportunistic moves there. So very nicely done there, but it looks like James has got a bit of a compromised run there. Adam's going to sneak along the inside. Can he hold it? What will James do? They're going to go side by side through the S's. Oh, it's very tentative amongst these cars. Contact made between the two drivers, but fairly done there. And watch out for Robinson right behind in the Nissan GTR. The first of the Nissan GTRs is going to look to get the upper hand on James and take that P5 away from the WTC driver. What happens here is when they get onto the exit of the bridge there, James throws the car on the inside, gives Robbo the room there. Absolutely clutch racing amongst these two competitors. They're battling it out for P4 in the championship. and P5 in the championship, and Robinson gets the hand of James and takes 5th place away from him. But watch out for this slipstream from here, but that James is going to get on Robbo. No, he doesn't actually. He's going to give him a little bit of a bump draft. So maybe they're just thinking about the long game, and maybe you want to try and pass Adam Walker, or actually going to give him a little bit of a bump draft there and pull out and go deep on the brakes there. Going onto the exit of Long Neck straight they go. James gets back ahead of Robinson. Oh, loses the rear end, and contact made between James and Robbo. That is so unfortunate amongst the 2 competitors there. That's going to be a tricky one to talk to the stewards about, but we'll see later on what happens there. But we'll get to that at the end of the broadcast there. It is still Ryan Carter leading Jeff Brun, and Tony Griffin still holds on to P3. So nice even start there by the contenders in this championship. Ryan's got himself over a second over Jeff Brun here, but I'll bring you in, George, for what has been an exciting lap here for the grand finale. And like I said, what a great time for you to join us.
Absolutely. Oh, that was really exciting. It was a great lap 1 there. Perfect entry into turn 1, which can always end up in a lot of shed tears and broken axles, unfortunately. So it was great to see that all the guys were able to get through. And that battle we had there was absolutely stunning to watch. Some great work. And I agree with the use of bump draft there. I think that's a smart move. You're going to have to try and stay in the slipstream ahead. That's going to be critical throughout this race. Otherwise, you're going to lose the battle pack ahead. And that's certainly what Griffo, Tony, and Walker are going to be thinking about. And Jeff Brun will be quite happy that he's still within a second of right off in 1st place. Yeah,
absolutely. So Jeff Brun is still holding on very nicely. Both drivers actually gapping Griffo in 3rd place. So they're pulling out the gaps over the man that is in P2 in this championship. So 3.4 separates Jeff and Griffo. So if it stays as it is, coming into the final race, we're going to be unofficially crowning Jeff Brun the championship winner here at TrackStars Racing Series. So what Tony Griffin needs to do, he needs to get ahead of Jeff, and he also needs to get ahead of Ryan Carter, but he's 3.7 and he's not closing the gap whatsoever on this lap. So the gaps are staying pretty stale amongst the 2 drivers, or actually, yeah, the 2 drivers ahead of him. So he needs to try and get a move on. He needs to get a hustle on if he wants to have any shot of taking this down to the last race for this TS3 Touring Cars decider. And Walker right behind there is actually closing up a little bit on Tony Griffin there. So he's actually clawing some time back after the first lap incident, after the first lap kerfuffle among some of the competitors there. But as I can see there on the leaderboard there, looks like Robert has given the position back to James. So I'm not so sure what that would have been there. I'm thinking what I would have seen there is that James must have lost the rear end of his car, and unfortunately Robbo was the innocent victim. But we won't know until we actually see until we see footage off the air, and we'll see what happened amongst those 2. So very unlucky for those 2, as they were actually they're still battling it out for P5 in this championship. But Walker needs to try and get some pace and needs to try and find a rhythm to get himself closer to Ryan Carter, who's leading this race here. But it's a very long lap around here, so there's so much time to debrief and to catch a bit of breath for all these drivers, and just see where you stack yourselves amongst the field here. We have 8 drivers tonight. All 8 drivers are in the top 10 of this championship, so it's great to see the top contenders here joining us tonight. And it's all about those little bragging rights. Obviously, the biggest bragging right is taking out the TS3 championship, and so far, Jeff Brun, ahead of Tony Griffin, will be looking to seal that at the end of the 5th lap.
Certainly will be. I think we do have some live replay of the incident that went on, so we can always give that a try with the broadcasting equipment. I think that was NZL Cowboy in the background there having a major issue out of the final sector, and he managed to run himself off into the grass. That's a bit unlucky for him there, but yeah, you're absolutely right. There's points in this, and the drivers have got to be absolutely onto it today.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about just trying to really capitalizing on your competitors, and whoever's here, whoever's not here is going to be the most important thing here. As we cut back to a replay of something that's happened along here. Not so sure what's happened there, but that's all right. So we'll get back to that very shortly, but it is still James ahead of Robinson in 6th place, but these guys are really battling it out. They really want to get themselves bragging rights for 5th place. And if I know the team boss of WTC Racing in Slappers Mate 117 or Wade Von Duvey, he'll be watching along. And every time I mention bragging rights, he always brings up his Friday nights events that he does with the WTC racing boys. They're all good mates. In both Ryan Carter, Tony Griffin, and Brad James, they're all very good mates, and they love their racing. So it's always good to see those guys come along in TrackStars and giving us that big support and bringing in some quality drivers here in TS3 touring cars. So we still have Ryan Carter leading Jeff Brun, who's holding on very nicely into P2, but the gap is still staying the same here, and Jeff is not giving up here. He wants to come. He knows that all he needs to do is finish ahead of Tony Griffin and finish this race. But if you are going to be champion elect, you want to do it the best way possible, George, and you want to get a double victory here tonight.
Yeah, you want to do it in style, and for those of you out there that watch Formula One, that's very deep there out of the bridge section for Jeff, so that will lose him a fair chunk of time. That's about 1/10 of a second that he will lose for that mistake, unfortunately, and that puts him out of slipstream rate critically, Nick. So that's going to be very, very significant in this race. But yeah, for those who are Formula One fans out there, they'll know that Max Verstappen's not out there cruising and getting 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. When you're winning the championship, all you really want to do is win a little bit more, and I'm sure that's what Jeff is thinking today.
Yeah, absolutely. That mistake, unfortunately, has cost him 1.4 seconds over Ryan Carter. So the whole race, we were seeing that gap stale between under the 1 second time gap between those two drivers. So unfortunately, that's now extended it out to 1.6 at the moment there. So he is closing. He has got the pace on this track. He's been putting in a lot of effort over the last couple of weeks to try and really get accustomed to this track. And as this track is very, very tricky, if you don't get all the practice sessions that you need to get this track right, you are putting yourselves in a bit of a danger zone where, unfortunately, you won't be able to get yourself. You won't be able to find a good rhythm around here if you don't really get all the practice in, because it is back around this circuit. And it's all about the drivers really just trying to get the upper hand, the advantage, and really hone in the laps that they can, because it's very important in this championship fight, especially for Ryoff, who's actually ahead of Adam Walker, who's down in 4th place. That he's actually put in the hours, he's put in the practice in, and he's really making this track his own. And being a few positions ahead of Adam Walker from Black Rose Racing is a key thing that he needs if he wants to extend that gap to him, which is only separated by 1 point in this championship.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing in it, is there? I mean, there'll be a lot of people, I think, in this grid who'll be quite happy with their positions right now. I mean, Jeff Bruin being ahead of Griffo Tony, that's going to be critical for him, and he knows he's got a decent amount of pace over Griffo Tony at this stage in the race. Ryoff obviously will be quite happy as well to be up there in P1. I'm not sure if he's taken any victories in the rest of the season, but a victory is a victory at the end of the day, and he'll be absolutely stoked at a track with this complexity. And I like that you said that, because it is very, very tricky here, especially in cars that are this pacey, have this much power. When you put that power down, we saw, you want to be holding as much speed as possible. You're relying on the aero elements of the car, the tire elements of the car. You're relying on all of that being absolutely spot on, and then your precision when you turn in, 1 or 2 centimeters too late can really affect your angle through these corners, and each corner leads into the next, and before you know it, you've lost yourself 1/10 or a second, because that's the way that it goes with cars with this much power in them.
Absolutely right. So yeah, it's all about really just trying to hone in your practice sessions, get the lines right. Always keep an eye on that wind direction. The wind direction is still staying the same, though. It could be a tailwind going into turn 3 and a headwind going into the long neck straight, as they are approaching that for the 4th time. They're only going to have 1 1/4 lap to go here. So Jeff is losing touch to Ryan Carter. Looks like Ryan is actually pulling out, extending his gap over Jeff. So he looks like he might be in the box seat to win race 1. But like I said, it's all about the bigger picture here between Jeff and Tony Griffin. What a season that these guys have been having. The top 4 have actually all won races here. So Ryan Carter was actually on a streak. He went back-to-back at Mount Panorama before he went back-to-back in the next round. can't remember exactly where the next round was, but he actually did a really good job to get back-to-back victories at Grand Valley. That was actually so. At Grand Valley was the last time that he got back-to-back victories. So he went 4 straight. But at the start of the seasons, where it all counted for Jeff Brun, he went 6 straight victories in the opening 3 rounds. The man in car 18, and then we saw a bit of a bounce back from Tony Griffin, also getting a clean sweep of victories in the next round at Brands Hatch in round 4. So that's where he started to insert himself in this championship contention. And then we saw Adam Walker in Walker 17 for Black Rose Racing, getting himself some very handy victories at Suzuka Circuit last time out. So we saw some great victories. We saw some great racing along amongst the TS3 drivers. We saw a couple of controversial moments throughout the whole season. Unfortunately, that's why probably the reason why we've actually having to go to the rolling side. We've had a couple of turn 1 major incidents where a lot of cars were taken out. So the TrackStars admin have come to an agreement to compromise to make sure the safety of the drivers and not too much backlash amongst the stewards. We have decided to bring out the rolling start and just to keep it clean for the next few rounds until further notice in 2024. But it's so far looking really good amongst our drivers here tonight. As we look down here, 6th place is actually now gone to Robinson in 6th, so he's now ahead of James. So obviously something happened within the last lap or so that Robbo has actually got himself ahead of James, and that's going to be a crucial point in this championship. Robbo needs to finish ahead of James in both races if he wants to seal P5. James needs to finish ahead of Robinson if he wants to seal P5. So lots of looking around in this championship and where you are placing yourself amongst your competitors. But as we are onto the final lap here, we won't take the credit away from Ryan Carter taking the win or getting himself close to victory, 3.5 ahead of Jeff Brun, who is well clear of Tony Griffin. But we did see Tony Griffin did set his fastest lap there, 3 minute 12.6. So all the drivers, the top 3, are very close to each other, George, and they are really setting some good lap pace for what can be an exciting last race of the season.
Certainly can be, and they'll be using this race to gather experience for the next one as well. They'll be able to take whatever they learn this time round, as Jeff Brun does go purple in Sector 2 there. Very impressive. I think there's 4 sectors around here, so I might have been wrong when I said Sector 3 a little while back, but yeah, they'll take their learnings into the next race. They'll be able to adjust, in terms of corners that they missed or lines that they should have been taking but didn't, and hopefully just not repeat any mistakes that they've maybe done this race. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Griffo Tony's been setting some great laps out there, all the top 4. In fact, I was expecting to see some of these chaps maybe get a little bit closer on track, just because their pace seems to be so good. If they were all in the slipstream, we'd be having quite the fight on our hands. But it has been brilliant to see anyway. I mean, these are great cars. I will just say, these cars at Brands Hatch, I wish I was there for that one.
Absolutely, that was absolutely close racing, and the qualifying was even closer there. I remember that. So some good racing amongst here in our TrackStars TS3 touring cars. The top 4 only separated by 9.2, so that just shows that how close these guys are on a very long track here. We saw all 4 drivers on the back straight there, on the long neck straight, and it was great to see. But as we're coming up towards the final corners here, it is going to be Ryan Carter taking out race 1 for this championship finale, for this grand finale here at TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars. Takes a victory in round 13 for race 1, goes to WTC's Ryan Carter, but the man in P2 gets the championship victory over Tony Griffin. So Jeff Brun in car 18 for Steel City Mashparts Racing is your champion-elect in 2023. So a huge congratulations to Jeff Brun for sealing the championship, getting himself ahead of Tony Griffin. He'll be kicking himself that he didn't get the fastest lap or the victory, but it's going to be an all-out jig fest in the last race here. But big honourable mentions there to Tony Griffin. What a season he has put in TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars, taking the fight all the way up to the finale here at St. Croix. Finishes, comes home in P3, gets to stand on that podium. Walker finishes down in P4. He's a few points behind. He'll be a few points behind Ryan Carter, but if he wants to try and get himself ahead of Ryan Carter. He's going to need a big mistake from that man in car 23, and car 17 needs to pounce on his mistakes there. Then we have Bendit, the Flying Dutchman, finishing in P5. Richard Robertson getting himself ahead of James in 6th place, and then our last driver for M&R Motorsport in Wade Barrington crosses the line, takes the checkered flag, sealing in 8th place in this race. 8 drivers amongst the field here tonight, and the man that leads the pack is Ryan Carter for WTC Racing, getting the bragging rights of victory here. But it's the big picture here that we see on this page here. Jeff Brun getting the championship victory over Tony Griffin, and what has been an amazing year for Jeff Brun has been also a very strong year for all drivers. You could say that has been putting this fight towards the finale. It's great to see some awesome racing here and some very close championships amongst the whole field, I would say. Even the top four. The top four on this race are the top four in this championship. So it's very good to see that the top four are relatively close, 8.7 seconds separating the top four. That just shows that these guys are hard racers and they are so competitive and they want to get themselves ready for what is going to be an amazing championship decider or championship in 2024 when it comes to TS2 touring cars, which is the step up from Division 3. But going down the order, as we said, there, Bendit, the Flying Dutchman in 5th, Robbo 6th, James 7th, and Wade Barrington for M&R Motorsport Network Racing in 8th and last place.
What a race. Congratulations to Jeff. That's absolutely stunning work from him. So well done. And of course, well done to everyone out there. It looks like a lot of fun in these touring cars. You know, the GT500 class is just fast. It's quick. It's intense. You get to take these corners at speeds that you normally wouldn't do. And, obviously when they get the opportunity to step up to TS2 as well, they'll be having even more fun up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see later on this evening how the TS2 drivers goes for their championship decider. But man, like if it was a personal preference for me, I would love to pick these cars for main series when it comes to main series racing. So I would race these cars on this layout any day of the week, 24/7 if I have to, because I absolutely love this combo, this track and car combo. Group 2s, Sanquasi, using all the downforce and going maximum power with these cars, full throttle as much as you can, and really maximizing entry and exit speeds. It is such a great combo to have here at TrackStars Racing Series, and what a way to set ourselves up for a finale here for TS2 and the TS3 Touring Cars Championship. So TS2 will be broadcasted to you at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. But as we take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get ourselves sorted out. The grid will be set in due course for what is going to be an exciting race 2. The championship has been decided, and it has been won by Jeff Brun over Tony Griffin. But it's going to be an all-out slugfest here. Nothing to go off. It's all about maximizing your race credentials. Can you get bragging rights? Who will get bragging rights here who will get bragging rights this evening as we get ourselves ready for race 2? So stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be bringing you all the action of race 2 very shortly. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sticking around for what has been an amazing grand finale here at TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars. What a year it's been for all drivers involved here at TrackStars Racing Series. We've had an incredible record amount of driver entries for this series. We've had a grand total of 28 TS3 Touring Car drivers that have signed up, registered, and have competed at least in one round in this TS3 Touring Cars Championship. So we can't thank our drivers more for putting on a spectacular year, an eventful year, a record-breaking year here at TrackStars Racing Series to have 28 registered drivers joining us for more than a round. It's been absolutely incredible to have their presence felt at TrackStars Racing Series. So we thank you guys so much on behalf of the TrackStars admin for putting on a great show for us here in 2023. But we are getting ourselves ready and geared up for the finale here for race 2 of the TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars. The championship has already been decided, so it's going to be all about bragging rights. Who can take out the victory for the grand finale of race 2 for round 13 of the TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars? We will find out in due course very shortly as we cut over to the live action here. We have Ryan Carter ahead of Jeff Bruin. Tony Griffin went from 5th to 3rd for what has been a great, great opening lap for the man in car 62. So now he's going to be going out for bragging rights. Can he get the victory one last time here at TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars? Will Jeff Bruin be able to get past Ryan Carter, who dominated race 1, as we are getting ready and gearing up for the last time here at TrackStars? And we are green flag racing for the last time here in 2023. Ryan Carter leads the way of Lexis. Ahead of him, the first of the Nissans in Robbo and Bendit in 5th place, but the Lexis leading the way into turn 1. We have ourselves a few little technicalities on my end of the stream, so I do apologise there. But Griffo has actually got himself ahead of Jeff Bruin, so he's going to go down the inside of turn 3. Can Jeff hold around the outside? He doesn't. He just gets overtaken there by Tony Griffin. What a move there from 3rd to 2nd. Now he's going to be targeting his teammate, but Jeff Bruin doesn't want to give up his thoughts of getting the last race victory. He won the opening race in 2023. He wants to go out with a bang and finish his TS3 Touring Cars campaign as a victor in the last race of the St. Croix C, Layout C event for the French sprint here. We are very excited to see what happens over the next 5 laps, but Walker still holds on to 4th. James has actually moved up into 5th place, as we see Robinson has actually had a bit of a poor start on his end, so he's down in 9th place. So something happened on his end in the opening lap, and we have a late comer into the TS3 Touring Cars entry. It is actually Latigator, also known as Liam for It's Racing Esports, who's actually joined to the back of the pack, but has moved himself up very nicely into P6 and this race in car 28. I almost forgot the race number that he had, but Bendit right behind in 7th place, and then Barrington 8th, and Robinson after that not so good start there. Down in 9th place, but we can see Squirrel going around the outside. Jeff wants to hold around the outside, gets shoved a little bit wide there by Griffo. The elbows are out. The championship has been decided, and it's all about bragging rights here. Who can get the elbows out? It's all about hard and fair racing here as they go down the long neck straight for the first time in race 2. And what a great start it's been for the WTC boys in Ryan Carter and Tony Griffin.
Oh, what a start, absolutely. Obviously, there's a little bit more chaos in lap 1. Oh, forced onto the grass a little bit there. Jeff giving him no room at all. Great stuff there, but Walker's going to get the move done. He'll late break down into the corner after the long neck straight. Does get the move done. Jeff is still there, though, but this corner does not really allow you to do a good sort of take back of a position you lose on the outside line. Walker does take 3rd place, and now Jeff under pressure from No, he's not the stick.
That's right, James is right behind there, just wants to try and get himself up towards the front end. So James right behind there, behind Jeff in 5th place. He wants to try and get himself up into that podium positioning to give it a WTC Racing whitewash here at St. Croix. So he's got a little bit of work to do. He is ahead of Robinson, so this is the key battle in this championship. James is ahead of Robinson, 3.6 ahead of Robinson. So now it's going to be very crucial for these guys when it comes to the end of the race. Bendit finished it in 5th, Robinson finished in P6. If things stay as they are, James will be getting that P5 bragging rights in this championship by only a mere 2 points, ladies and gentlemen. They were separated by next to nothing. They were even on points going into this round, but if everything stays as it is, James will be finishing ahead by 2 points. So it's very important for Robinson to close that near 4-second gap between himself and James, and if he wants to have a go at taking P5 in this championship.
Exactly
but
right.
very close racing amongst the top 5 here. Nothing separates them whatsoever. Looks like Ryan Carter has dropped a little bit of pace. He's 1.6 behind Walker here. So the top 5 we can even say are all in close quarters here. Jeff Brun really just wanting to make the moves there. Adam runs wide and so does Jeff. This could open up an opportunity for James. No, he's a little bit further behind. I thought they were a lot closer on track, but both drivers running wide on that corner there. I believe it is going to be turn 6. Yeah, so many corners around this track here, George. I always keep forgetting what number we're on, so I definitely have to bring up a track map for myself to see what corner numbers we're on. But Jeff, nonetheless, wants to get himself ahead of Adam Walker, get himself back onto the podium there. But James as well wants to get himself up the order and make it a WTC whitewash on the podium. Lap 2 of 5, the gap between top 5 cars is just over 3 seconds. Is showing some great close racing amongst the field here. The biggest factor on this track here, George, and with these big powerful cars, is the dirty air. So the guys following each other is going to be finding it so tricky to go around and make moves. You have to make them stick. You have to make them work. Oh, as Jeff goes very late on the brakes there, but he just pulls it up a little bit. Just has to scrape the barriers there. The dirty air really kicking in there for Jeff. Not being able to pull the car up, but still going to get himself ahead of James along this long neck straight here. But James is going to open up the opportunity and go for the move on Jeff Brun. Jeff goes from P2 to P5 in the opening couple of laps. So not the ideal start that Jeff wanted in this race too for the last time in TrackStars TS3 touring cars. As we can see ahead, we can see Adam Walker's going for the move. He wants to get P2 because he wants to have any chance of getting himself ahead into P3 in this championship. Griffo outbrakes him just. Can't pull the car up. The cars are so bunched up here between the battle for P2, and with all of this is opening the gap to Ryan Carter to over 3 seconds over Tony Griffin. So Ryan is looking in the background in the mirror saying, yes, you boys keep battling it out here. I'll sail away with a clean sweep victory. But man, what an intense race for this last race and in the final round here, George.
Oh, this is great stuff. 4 cars in it, double overtake down the long neck straight. It's absolutely brilliant. You're absolutely right about the number of corners here. There's a lot of corners to remember. There's a lot of corner names here we probably can't pronounce, as with most of these French tracks. But man, what exciting racing this is bringing at St. Croix today. 4 cars in it for the top 2 podium positions. Obviously, Ryoff is checking out a little bit at the front, so he's definitely found himself a nice bit of clean air, of course, which is what happens when you're in P1 and when you start at the front of the grid. But yeah, a little bit unlucky there, I think, for Jeff over the course of this race so far as we head into the first corner of lap 3. But yeah, nice driving there from Walker. He'll have another opportunity on Tony Griffin in the next few corners. As we'll know, he's not the stick. He's not out of slipstream range. So if he can hold onto this battle pack, he's got a shot.
Yeah, and you have to keep an eye on these. The battle pack, the battle for P2 is going to really help James, whether it helps him in a good way and closing the gap if the front 3 are going to be battling themselves in the last few in these last 2.5 laps of this race, or whether they're going to be able to stretch the gaps up and play conservative and play the long game. Wait till lap 5 of 5 and make your moves there. But all the guys are really going to be working hard to get those moves done as early as they can, as the gap between Carter and Griffiths just dropping down a little bit, so it went underneath the 3-second marker there. So it was starting at about 3.3 going into the pit straight, and now it's dropped down to 2.7 between himself and Tony Griffiths, and is now even dropping down, or actually going up a little bit to 2.9. So the gap is still staying the same there. Griffo has actually pulled out a bit of a buffer over Walker in 3rd place, so he's doing himself a nice job there. And James looks like he's just dropped off a little bit on the back there of Jeff in 5th place. I haven't seen much of Robinson there. He's not really making any inroads on this battle pack in the battle pack with Alexis occupying the top 5 on this track here. So Robinson, the first of the Nissan GTRs, in 6th place there, a little bit further back. He's not actually in the picture shot as well. So he's well down the order there. He's well down over 3 seconds, over 4 seconds behind James. But James has really lost touching ground now with his battle pack. He's lost a lot of time on the exit of the bridge there, which might invite Robinson to close the gap a little bit more there. But here we go. It's going to be a double slipstream here for Jeff Brun. But can Jeff Brun capitalize and make it work for him? The guys are trying to defend and trying to break the slipstream. Tony Griffin just breaking that slipstream there, but none of the boys ahead of them are saying, nah, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna fall for that trick whatsoever there. Can Walker get himself ahead? Can Jeff get ahead of him? Walker goes defensive. Jeff is going to have to go around the outside. Breaks late into the corner and makes it stick around the outside on the exit of the long neck straight. What a move there from Jeff Brun to take back P3. What a fantastic move by the champion-elect in Car 18. A fantastic move on
awesome.
Adam Walker there.
That was really awesome to see. Jeff was so late on the brakes. He knew he had a bit of runoff there at the end of the VB long neck straight, and he did so well. Brake late, turned it in, and got himself around Walker. Walker will be right behind him, of course, so this is a lovely kind of battle that you get with the slipstream effect, and that's what VB long necks can do to you, as I understand it. Can make you go side by side. That's exactly what they were doing, as we do see Walker try and look up the outside, but there's nowhere to go there, and he'll have to tuck back into the slipstream as they head onto the 4th lap of this race.
Yeah, I love the way you've actually mentioned that VB long neck. That is absolutely fantastic. We're in France, but you know we have to give an Aussie name there, so why not? Absolutely, we love it. We love having our commentator here, and George Cook. So if you love what you see, head over to his Twitch channel in Crazy Good Kung Fu, where you get to see more of the brilliant man himself is bringing us a live coverage here. But back to the action. Walker's not going to give up. He wants to take that P3 back there. Jeff went a little wide. No. Contact made between Walker and Jeff Brun there. I want to see what actually happens there. If we can find ourselves a replay action of what happened between these two drivers. Was there contact made, or did Adam go deep on the brakes? Looks like he weren't a bit... Yeah, just did it on his own there. Don't see much contact there. I'm not so sure if there was much. I don't know if there was net code amongst that and as a playing factor there, but from what I saw, from my perspective, that looked like a little bit too deep on the brakes there. Obviously hasn't accounted for the he hasn't really accounted for the wind direction there. 4.8 tailwind going into turn 3, so obviously a little bit too late on the brakes there. Really compromised him there. And Jeff has actually dropped back down to P4. So again, Jeff is actually struggling as well. He's actually given that position to James in 3rd place, which is actually going to be, which is pretty much sealed out, looks like it's probably going to seal out a top 3 WTC podium here for the last round and for the last race here in 2023, with Ryan Carter leading his teammate and Tony Griffin, who is leading his teammate in Brad James. 1, 2, and 3 for WTC Racing.
And look who's back in the pack here. It's Robbo. So Robbo has made his way back up nicely. Obviously, that little interaction there with Walker did look a little bit like there was a little bit of netcode involved, but as you said, the wind direction wasn't particularly conducive and to that corner entry. And that corner entry is very tricky because it tightens off towards the end. It's a really late apex. So you have to get the car slowed down so much and then really throw it in and get the angle. So around the outside there is always so difficult. And, you know, Jeff had the inside of that corner, so there was nowhere else for Robbo to really go at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we can see Robbo's looking to make the move, pulling out of the slipstream there, gets himself ahead of Jeff. But will Jeff do what he did on the last lap? Will he go for a late move into the inside here? No, he doesn't. Robbo goes very deep on the brakes there, struggles to pull the Nissan up, which is going to give an absolute opportunistic opportunity for Jeff to try and make a move in this infield section through the S's on the back part of Sanquasi, looking to shove his nose on the inside there. Hasn't worked out for Car 18. Very unlucky there for Jeff to not make the move there, but it drops him well down to P5. He was P3 at the start of this race here, but is really struggling with this dirty air effect and is not really able to capitalize on on his chances of taking victory. So he's down the order in P5. Adam Walker as well has dropped down to P6. So, and I know for the man who is the team boss of WTC Racing is joining us and is actually watching along in the TrackStars YouTube channel, is making himself presence felt in the chat. And he's going to be loving his boys occupying that podium positioning for the last race here for TS3 Touring Car. So he's going to be absolutely loving seeing his boys in Ryan Carter, Tony Griffin, Brad James in the top three there. Looks like Robbo just clopped with the guardrail there on the entry and exit of turn 2, and that's given Jeff an opportunity to go back on for the move, for the inside move there. Still holds the fastest lap. Does Jeff Brun in 3rd place or 4th place now as he makes the move on Robertson? Does he make it stick? Gives Robbo the room and does make it stick there. Holds back, takes back P4, but it is going to be the crucial long neck straight for the last time that could seal out this who will take out P4 in this race here. But back to the front three. Ryan Carter holds on to a very commanding lead here, 7 seconds separating himself and Tony Griffin. Wow, if there's a race to mark your authority and seal P3 in this race, that is the way to do it. 7 seconds, 7.5 seconds over his teammate and Tony Griffin.
You're right. Yeah, that is a pretty dominant performance here today from him. He set the fastest lap in qualifying, started on pole, of course, for both of the 5-lap races we've had today, and he's maximised that to its utmost at the end of the day. And you've got to take your hats off to him. 8 seconds. He's been able to stay out of the reach of everyone ahead. He was a little bit challenged in race 1 with Jeff Bruin. And I do also want to call to attention Jeff Bruin's fastest lap here, because for those of you who know some computer lingo, or so to speak, or some of the shorthand meme things, when you put a 1, some 3s and a 7, that's pretty elite. So it's a very nice lap time there from Jeff, I have to admit. But hats off to Ralph today. He's really, really put in the performance.
Yeah, and he's looking to seal out this race with a very dominant performance in taking clean sweep and trying to get that fastest lap there. So he was 8/10s up going into sector 4. That was absolutely incredible. He's on it, and you can definitely tell by the pace that he's got in that Lexus, in that car 23. It's been a bit of an up and down roller coaster for Ryan Carter. He's been putting on some good performances as of late, especially with his back-to-back round victories and clean sweeps at Bathurst and Grand Valley. But he's going to be putting on another clinic here, taking another clean sweep victory. That'll be his 3rd of the season. We saw Tony Griffin take out a clean sweep round of 300 points. Jeff Bruin has taken out 4 of them. Adam's taken 1. So the top 4 in this championship have taken out clean sweep victories, but it's going to be going to the man in car 23 as he rounds up the final corner here for the last time in TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars for 2023. Car 23 takes the victory and the clean sweep. Big haul of points for the man from WTC Racing. A big congratulations there, and the fastest lap there, nearly setting himself a 3:11 lap time there. Tony Griffin rounds up position 2, and that's where he will stay in the championship. Sold a solid P2 there. Then we have James in 3rd, and then we have our official TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars champion in car 18. Jeff Brun takes out the championship, takes out P4 in race 2, but the big picture for him is sealing the championship in 2023. Robbo finishes in P5, will unfortunately drop down to P6 in the championship standings. Walker will hold on to P4 in this championship. Bender from the Flying Dutchman right behind in 7th place, and then Wade Barrington crosses the line for the last time for Motorsport Network Racing. A big au revoir to M&R, who have been the pioneers of TS3 touring cars. Finishes in 8th, and then the latecomer in Liam rounds up in 9th place. But it is bragging rights for WTC Racing with a familiar name that they are well known for. Their bragging rights nights on Friday nights goes to their boys in Ryan Carter, Tony Griffin, and Brad James, taking out 1, 2, 3 for the clean sweep of the team in this lobby here. Absolutely dominant performance there by WTC Racing. But the big picture here, the man in P4 is Jeff Brun. in position for taking out this championship in TS3 touring cars. Absolutely clinical year it's been for Jeff Brun from round one to round three, taking out back to back around clean sweeps, and then putting on some consistent performances throughout the whole year, bringing himself back into championship contention after the Fuji sprint and really solidifying his dominance in this TS3 Touring Cars Championship. But Tony Griffin and the WTC boys have been putting on a mammoth effort to really take the fight to the last round. And unfortunately, just a little bit too short, a little bit too little too late for WTC Racing. It goes to car 18 for Jeff Brun.
Yeah, great race. Obviously, a great season as well. I'm glad to have been part of the finale here, but I'm glad that everyone's had a good season out there. It looks just, brilliant racing out there. These cars are absolutely fantastic. The action out on track is brilliant. The racing is clean, fair, and respectful. Of the incidents we had there, everyone.
I could see Jeff Brun, and he's really taking this championship victory to his advantage here. You can just see he's on track right now doing some celebratory donuts there, so he's really enjoying himself there. What a year it's been. He's sporting the number one, and there's a championship victory there for the man in Jeff Brun. What a fantastic year it has been for the man in car 18. We'll take that car one. Unfortunately, won't be able to back it up in TS3 touring cars next year, but he's going to be giving it a red hot crack in Division 2 in the TrackStars TS2 Touring Cars Championship. Very nicely done there. Well earned, well deserved there. Trying to attempt to do some donuts there, but he's doing his best. As you do in the TS3, you've won the championship, you give it your best. But luckily for him, he did all his talking on the track there, taking victories, taking out some podiums, getting some clean sweep round victories, and that's all about the big picture here. Jeff Brun is your 2023 TS3 Touring Cars champion.
Big congratulations. Love these donuts, love the car and the livery. Well done.
Absolutely here. So as we send off here at TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars, we'd love to thank you at home. Thank you so much for tuning in to the TS3 Touring Cars Championship for season 2023. We'd like to send a big thank you to our drivers, our 28 TS3 Touring Car drivers that have made an appearance in 2023 for TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars. Without you guys and girls, we wouldn't have not been able to put on a spectacular show here in 2023. So it's your hard efforts and it's your efforts and your appearances that have made this championship so worthwhile. And we absolutely loved every single minute of this TS3 championship. But it only had to be one man, 28 drivers amongst the field, but one man and one driver taking out this championship, and it goes to Jeff Brun. What an absolute dominant year he's had. Or full credit to the boys at WTC Racing, bringing in the best package they could at St. Croix to try and topple off the man in car 18. But unfortunately for them, it was not enough to take out the championship for Tony Griffin there. So well done, nonetheless, to WTC Racing for putting on some solid efforts there. And well done to all of our drivers that have made it in this TS3 Touring Cars Championship. We saw the likes of Bendit, the Flying Dutchman, putting in some clinical drives throughout the whole year. We saw Adam Walker getting himself a clean sweep victory at Suzuka for the Honshu Sprint. We also saw Robbo putting in some very solid performances throughout the whole year. We saw Barrington have some good performances early on in the TS3 Touring Cars Championship, and to come home to bring M&R's final outing in TrackStars Racing Series is a great way to send them off with some solid points going next to his name and inside the top 10 of this championship. So well done to all of our drivers. We can't thank them enough for what has been a spectacular year at TrackStars Racing Series to bring you all the live action here. We'd like to send a big commemorations to Ryan Palmer, our main commentator and host and streamer that has been providing you all of the action in TrackStars Racing Series for TS3 Touring Cars. A belated happy birthday to Ryan Palmer as well. His birthday was actually on Friday, and he was celebrating it down there at Bathurst. So happy belated birthday to our series admin and streamer Ryan Palmer. We also had our good friend in Chris Lashbrook joining us a few occasions for the season. and having himself a really good time joining us in the commentaries box. And it's also a big thanks to the man that is joining us at this current time in George Cook in Crazy Good Kung Fu, providing you all the stream and all the overlays. Keeping it very professional here at TrackStars Racing Series. So your professionalism has been spectacular. George, thank you so much for providing us an amazing stream for the grand finale.
My absolute pleasure.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and what a year it's been for TrackStars TS3 Touring Cars. Thank you so much. We hope you have enjoyed it. Stick around within the next hour, where we're going to be bringing you all of the live action for the last decider here at TrackStars Racing Series, the TS2 Touring Cars Championship Division 2. It's the fight between Josh Green, Les Sandwith and Lam and KH Lam from Malaysia. All three manufacturers represented in the top three in the championship, but who will claim the overall championship? Can Green hold on to his championship lead, or will we see a late charge from Sandwith and Lam to take this battle fight right down to the wire at the end of what is going to be a long TS2 Touring Cars race? We'll find out in due course, but for now and for us, on behalf of myself, Nick Patasso, and the streamer and co-commentator in George Cook, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for choosing TrackStars Racing Series on this beautiful Sunday evening in Australia and New Zealand, or wherever you are watching us on the World Wide Web. Thank you so much, and we'll see you and we'll see the TS3 Touring Cars next year in